show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
My name is Miriam Lawani, and I'm the founder of Green Hill Recycling. Green Hill Recycling is a social enterprise that is addressing the poverty and unemployment issues in Nigeria using recyclable solid waste as a currency of exchange. The experience as an entrepreneur in the waste management sector has been bittersweet. It's been a roller coaster. The rewarding part is the fact that you can, create jobs for people. Through waste, you can put food on the tables of people. No, I'm happy to be a woman. I don't think things would have worked any differently if I was a male. There are certain doors that open better because you're a woman. There's a soft spot, I believe, for women. And if women are charting this territory that men are also, able to survive or flourish in, I'm happy to be one of those women who are breaking barriers in the waste management sector.
Yes.
Fidelity Bank is one of the few SME-focused banks in Nigeria, and last year I got into the SME Connect pitching competition. I emerged second place, and I was given ₦1 million to support my business. That fund went into helping to purchase a billing machine. So we've been able to move from collection to processing through the support of Fidelity Bank. I would say to any female entrepreneur listening to me out there that there are no barriers anymore. If you are sure about what business your gut feeling is saying you should go into, please go for it. And while in the process, stay focused, stay resilient, and don't give up.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Positive and Wellness Summit. It's going to be an exciting time because we have a lot of people lined up. We have the fireside chats with our 4 guests, and we're going to banter on healthy strategies for successful living. We also have Adenike Oyekunle, who is going to be speaking of health-life balance. And then we're expecting Adenike Oyekunle, who is going to be speaking on gratitude and being thankful. Then we also have for the parents in the house, how to give your children healthy foods and lifestyles. So it's going to be really interesting. Put in your comments, how was yesterday to some of you? For those of you who are able to come on the show yesterday, how was it? Let's hear from you. And don't forget, at the break time, there's going to be a break period of 45 minutes because of the limitations of running on YouTube for a long time. So we'll break for 45 minutes and we'll come for the second session, which starts at 6 o'clock. And between then, we'll be having games that you'll be winning more data to come and watch the program, especially tomorrow, the final day. And also, if you have an opportunity and you're interested, we're having a debate tomorrow if you're interested in being a participant, just put it in a comment box and our people will get back to you. The topic is live to eat or eat to live. So what are you willing to do in terms of eating? Are you eating to live or you're living to eat? So we'd like you to discuss that, and there's fantastic prizes for you. We have 25,000 worth of food vouchers, store vouchers, and supermarket vouchers for the first prize team each, and then 15,000 for the second prize team each. So please, if you're interested, put your name and what you want to talk about, which side you are on the comment box. So while we're waiting for our guest, please let's take this short break and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back and you're on to the Positive and Wellness Show, Day 2, Session 1. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also turn on the notification box button so that you can get notification on when we are online, especially during this summit, and you'll be able to get there quickly. So we're going to have our special guest. I'll just play her bio and then we'll get kicking.
Adenike is a lawyer, though not in active practice. She delved into the world of media. A qualified alternate dispute resolutor, a qualified human resource personnel, and an emotional intelligence coach and the gratitude coach. She has been nominated for several media awards, winning some and getting others for recognition on the job. Adenike in 2017 was a speaker at the TEDx Gbagada Lagos, speaking on philanthropy and the role of empathy in the human society. Her passion, driving conversations around the plight of disability in Nigeria, led her to establishing the Amputees United Initiative, a social group specifically for amputees. Her work has earned her several platforms, spanning for hosting events, moderating several sessions, and being part of many panels. A goalkeeper, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She uses advocacy to push for and encourage the inclusion for persons living with disability in her country, Nigeria. With her foundation, Amputees United Initiative. She's an author of a self-titled memoir, Adenike. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Adenike to the Positive and Wellness Summit as she speaks on with a grateful heart, living a life of thankfulness and gratitude for all-round wellness.
Yes, we have Adenike Oyekunle in the house. I'm going to bring her back on, but right on. But I just realized I was on mute when I was explaining some things, and I said that remember to turn on your notification button and like the pay channel so that you can get notifications on our various programs. So let's welcome Adenike. Hi.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can hear you very well. So put your clapping and your emotion and all that stuff, your fire emotion, your clapping emotion, whatever emotion to welcome and get Adenike into the house. Welcome. Great to have you. All the stress of the country. It's challenging, I know, and that's why I feel it's so important to help us get these things done,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
sometimes we can easily give up. I know people who are depressed and frustrated, and it's very
Yes.
important we bring programs like this to help people know how to balance their life. And so I will hand you over to Adenike as she talks about with a grateful heart. You have 30 minutes, max, and then 10 minutes
Okay.
for Q&A, and I'll come on when you're 5 minutes to the end of your 30 minutes.
Okay. All right.
All right.
But it's weird speaking to myself. So please stay here now. Where are you going to?
Oh, okay. All right. How we do that?
Okay, yeah. So I can just go ahead. I can go ahead, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so again, thank you very much, Auntie Twain. You know how I respect you, respect your journey. I truly honor, your transparency on this journey of life, as you've always been vulnerable, sharing everything with us. With Aburo Nimoji, I'll say it in Yoruba, and I say thank you very much. I truly
Thank
appreciate
you.
this privilege of being for your amazing, amazing program. So you asked me to talk about gratitude and wellness, and
Yes.
it sounded very like, this will be my first speaking specifically about gratitude, because a few months ago, I remember just changing my Instagram description to gratitude coach, and quite a number of people were saying, what does this mean, what are you about, do you have? And I said, don't worry, we continue to unravel, as even me myself continues to understand it will continue to
Yeah.
unravel, and I'm sure that the world will know. But I feel like very strongly it's very necessary to talk about what happened 3 years ago to me. 3 years ago, I felt very strongly to journal, what I'm grateful for, because I had heard a friend of mine say that she had done it for 2 years successfully, and that it had transformed her life. And for whatever it is worth, that particular experience I wanted to be a part of, and I wanted to understand what it meant. So what I did was I decided that for every single day I would journal at least one thing that I was grateful for. So when I started in 2017, I started to journal one thing I was grateful for that happened in my own life. And there'll be few days where I would struggle. And that's because as I continued, even through 2017, and I didn't believe that I was able to do it for every single day, I found out that I started to run out of what to be thankful for. This is very honest. And that was also because I didn't want to start to say thank you for food. Except that particular day I was broke, I didn't have food to eat. There was a break in how I would have expected that I'll get food. I didn't want it to be a thank you for oxygen, except I struggled breathing while I was rushed to a hospital. I didn't want a situation where I would write mundane, in quotes, things. Thank you for clothing. Why am I thanking you for clothing? What is specific about clothing today? Does it mean that, where I used to say burnt and maybe I lost all my clothes or somebody stole all my clothes? Except those peculiar things happened, I was very insistent to myself that I did not want a situation where I'll be saying, thank you for, in quotes, regular things, except those things were threatened. So from 2017 into 2018, I knew that I didn't want it to be a journey that I would take by myself, because when I started in 2017, I had made a pact with myself that I was not going to open the content until a 5-year mark. So 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. So it means that in 2022 or at the end of 2021, I would open, what I had written in the last 5 years. And you can imagine for a second how emotional that experience would be, because in hindsight, I would see things that I had struggled with, things that I was grateful for, and I would also start to evaluate my life, in particular moments where I am. Say, for instance, if I said in 2017, thank you for, I was able to pay my house rent, and maybe by 2021 or 2022, I own a house of my own. It brings perspective into, oh my God, look at how far my journey has come. And it was very necessary. And personally, to me, I'm doing a 5-year mark. My friend did a 2-year mark, and she had explained to me how emotional it was, how accelerating it was, how liberating that experience was for her. So I told myself that I must do it myself. So I started. Now, it was very instructive to me that I didn't want to do it by myself. So I decided to throw it out on Instagram to say, hey, who would like to join me, to keep the journal of what they are thankful for? And people started to tell me that they would like to join me. And before I knew what was happening, I opened an Instagram handle, and every single morning I would do a post about gratitude. And I would see people randomly say, oh my God, I follow your gratitude journey. I just want to thank you. Oh yes, I stopped along the line. I stopped for 6 months. I stopped for 3 months. And then I grew into a space where I started to tell people that the most important thing is that there's consistency. You determine for yourself what that pace would be and what you're going to be consistent about. If, unlike me, you write what you know what it is on your mobile device, by all means, please go ahead and do it. If you want an app, because they are gratitude apps, if you want an app that would help you in the journey, please do it. If you want to voice record, please do it. If you want to text, if you want to type, please do it. What is most important is that you are keeping a record of what it is that you're grateful for. And what that has now done for me is that, and I'll tell you how it concerns to wellness, is it made me move into a space where I was no longer looking out for just myself. So case in point, oh my God, thank you, Lord, Auntie, it was a huge success, the program today, because imagine that you had told me the challenges that you had experienced before the program became a success. Then I'll go back into my gratitude journal today to say, oh my God, day 2 was a success. Despite this. So the gratitude journey has taken me a lot beyond myself, where I'm not even looking for people to share the things that are happening in their life. So that way I'm snooping around. It was a struggle at first because I wasn't sure if I had to start asking people what's going on in your life. But what I noticed is that you begin to attract what it is that you want. So subconsciously and consciously now, I get feedback from friends, from stories. Even when I see stories on social media, for instance, there's a little boy who drowned, a 4-year-old boy called Judah, who drowned in the US. And he gets into my gratitude jar these days. When his mother does a video where he's trying to speak, I'm like, thank you, Lord, for Judah. At least we saw progress. So what gratitude also does is that it has moved me from a place of selfishness into a space where I am now consistent and intentional about looking out for what people are grateful for in their own lives. So, and invariably what that does, it makes you selfless. Because I'm a Christian, one of the things that we know is, love your neighbor as yourself, pray for your brother and sister. There's a part in 1 John that says that if I come to you and I tell you that I need money or I have a need, and you don't give it to me, or what use is my loving you, or what use is my being a brother if I don't give to you? So that's one thing that I realized that the gratitude journey and the gratitude work has been able to do for me. Now you've asked me to talk about wellness, and I feel like it's very important for people to understand that gratitude and being grateful and thankfulness are 2 different things. And I would explain to you why all of these things are necessary. A lot of us grew up in homes where I grew up in a Yoruba home where it was completely necessary and mandatory for you to thank people. You would thank your friends, you would thank your neighbors, you would thank the elders, you would thank them for thanking you, you would thank them for receiving you. So I grew up in that space. So growing up, I didn't understand how people would see maybe domestics or see people doing their jobs and not know how to say thank you. Yes, I'm paying you for a service. Case in point, the Lekki toll. I always subconsciously say thank you. I always, no, let me say always. A lot of the time we'll say thank you. A lot of the times we'll say hello, or hi, or good afternoon, or good evening. And I found out that it is because it is who I am and it is how I was brought up. Growing up, I used to struggle when my mother used to insist. And I used to wonder, what is all this? Why is she so particular about this? But what it does is that your mind and your brain gets to be wired in such a state that even the guy who opens the door for you, though it's his job, you intentionally pause and say good morning or goodbye or say thank you. And what that does to you, it makes you mindful. It makes you present in every situation such that you are not absent-minded. You are not absent-minded. You are not lost. Sometimes we walk into a place that we're not even conscious about the things that we do, right? Because things have just happened. Exactly. And it's what happens to us as humans. We are preoccupied with a lot of things. Adult life is a scam. Many things are going on. So being grateful is the state where you're expressing your gratitude. Now, thankfulness is where you intentionally and mindfully recognize that someone has been gracious to you, whether you paid them for a service, or they have given a service towards you, or supplied you with a product. That way, you are grateful and you know well enough to thank that person for what it is that the person has done. Now, that is gratitude, and that is being grateful and thankfulness. One thing that underlies both of them is mindfulness. You are present, you are intentional, you are there in that space. You are not absent-minded, and because of that, you notice things. Because of that, you notice when the doorman is not there. You notice when the office messenger, is absent from work. Why? Because you know that you begin to receive what you give. That office assistant who you used to say thank you to would notice when you're absent. And one day when you resume back at work, you say, good afternoon, ma. I noticed that you were not around for 2 weeks, so hope no problem. Then you say, yes, thank you for noticing. You now ask her, why did you notice? The person will randomly just say, because it's only you that used to greet me, or it's only you that used to say thank you after I washed the bathroom. It's those little pockets of things that, even for a lot of us who were not born with it, we can actually learn it. Because I would usually hear people say, but I wasn't born this way, I wasn't trained this way. And I would say, mindfulness, intentionality, that is why they say in life, you have to learn, you have to read, you have to unlearn. This is something that you have to learn. And this is something that you have to keep learning. For people who have children, whether biological or people that you mentor, what happens is they become a reflection of who it is that they see that you are. So your child inculcates it. You might struggle with a child who is younger and you think, this child, I'm always teaching this child. But guess what? At the root of the child's foundation, of the child's core, even when the child goes to college, the child will subconsciously start to find him or herself being grateful, expressing gratitude, and all of that. Now, why it's easier for me is because my mom is somebody who knows to show gratitude and does it effortlessly. It is so bad that she will call you and call you 2 months after my mother is still calling you to thank you for what you did 6 months ago. And I used to struggle with it. I never understood it. But now that I'm older, I get it. And that's also because I have now become who she is and who I used to fight her before when it comes to this gratitude and this gratefulness thing. Now, what it does to you as a person with your holistic life is a grateful heart makes you whole. And what do I mean by that? It makes you whole to the point where you are a healthier being. You become a more vibrant person when people share experiences of their lives or share with you stories, or you read someone's story on social media. You are excited. You don't know them, but you can see that this couple have just been gifted with a child, or they have just been successfully delivered of a child. You are excited. You are, your mind, your heart is healthy enough to rejoice with them, even when you don't understand what the journey is. Now, what it does to you, it gives you a healthier mindset. And also, a grateful heart, it takes away strife. A grateful heart makes you present, such that you don't compare. What gratitude is doing to me is the spirit of comparison. I no longer, it's not like I used to compare, but you'll find out that, why is this thing happening to that person? Why is that thing happening to that person? Why is this person own this way? And why is my own not this way? Comparison automatically starts to die. And that's what gratitude has been doing for me as a person. Because most of the things that I'm going to share today are things that I am seeing. I'm not at the end there, or I am not at the peak where I think I can get to, but I'm definitely not where I used to be. And that's one thing that is very peculiar with this gratitude journey for me as a person. Now, it makes you have good self-esteem. What does that mean? How does that play out? When you are a grateful person, it means that you are grateful about who you are, what you have, the resources you do not have, your journey that you have come through, everything, such that nobody can mess with you when you are saying, oh, I'm on the big side, or I am on the small side. You understand that some people actually have really, really bad issues with their body that they are struggling with. But because you have come to love your body, and if you're trying to struggle with whatever the journey is, if you are too slim or you are too skinny, or you're on the plus size, You love your body and you start to work towards getting the body that you think that you want. What that does is nobody can mess with your self-esteem. Why? Because you have appreciated the body that you're currently existing in, and it helps you a whole lot.
Yeah.
People very easily talk about how difficult it is to have a grateful mind. And I know that one of the, some factors that hinder gratefulness are overzealousness. You are overzealous about everything. You want to have everything now. You want everything to happen now because you are forgetting where you are coming from. You are not mindful of the journey that you have come from. So you want it now, you want it now. Overzealousness kills the spirit of gratitude. Getting distracted kills the spirit of gratitude. And how that plays out most times is in comparison. Forgetfulness, which is why journaling is very, very important. So I would always encourage people who say that they struggle with gratitude to say, start to journal first. They say that if you want to start, a habit, you do it in 21 days. If you want to have a lifestyle, you do it in 90 days. Start to journal first. If you journal, you see that by yourself, you start to look for what is going on in this person's life. What good has happened to Auntie Toyin this afternoon? What has happened to her this month? Let me call her and check up on her to say, how are you? She will share with me the unpleasant stories, but in all of the unpleasantness, she will share with me a good thing that she's excited about. I will pick it. Because why? My mind has become programmed to now looking for the good in every situation, however big it is, even when you break down and you cannot see it. Subconsciously, when you're being human and you're expressing your emotion, your mind begins to pick the good in the story that people will share with you. So therefore, forgetfulness is one problem that hinders why people, struggle with mindfulness and gratitude. Imagine that you are content. Imagine you don't have self-esteem issues. Imagine that you are not distracted. Imagine that you are not overzealous. Imagine that you are drinking your water, you are taking your vitamins, you are eating your greens, you are eating your vegetables, you are sleeping well. What will happen? Holistically, your life will be better. You will start to glow. People will be wondering, why are you shining like this? You'll be able to explain to them what it is. But the truth about it is because you have all of these factors, and which is why being grateful and expressing thanksgiving is not something that happens on its own that makes your life change. It is a combination of many things. Imagine the things I mentioned earlier: eating right, drinking water, doing your exercise, eating your vitamins, being grateful. It has a holistic effect in transforming your life already. So you have to improve your thankfulness. You have to be intentional about it. You have to be consistent about it. You have to be mindful about it. What are the characteristics of a grateful heart? A grateful heart, is a heart and an attitude of gratitude, and you're not entitled. Yes, your father and mother should help you do this. Yes, your siblings should do this. But when your brother decides to send you money, for instance, you are so thankful because you know for a certainty that your brother does not owe you anything. And because he has chosen to do that, you remain grateful and you are not entitled. Secondly, it makes you see the good and positive in life. You consistently will be focusing on the good and the positive. You are focusing on the good. Okay, look, there was traffic. Traffic was really bad. But then what happened? When you eventually got to the place, did you get the job? How was the interview? You will not dwell on the traffic here bad, go. You will move. Sarah. You will listen to it, you would express it. But overall, your mind is fixated on the good things that will come from that story, however minute or however little that thing is. Thirdly, gratefulness and gratitude chews off bad and negative energy or negative vibes completely. Because remember, right now in my own gratitude journey, I am not particular about what happens to my life as a person. I begin to look around me. And what that does is once you start to attract positive energy, people will know, the world will know. And guess what will come your way? Yes, negative energy will come, let's be honest, but predominantly more positive than negative energy will come. Then it makes you celebrate God. I can tell you how on many occasions I'm praying at night and I'm not thanking God or praying about something that happened to me. I'm saying thank you for these people who finally had a child. Thank you for these people who've been able to pay their child's school fees. Thank you for these people. Their landlord did not send them out of their house. They're able to raise their house rent. Thank you for this guy. God, you saved him even when his car stopped on Third Mainland Bridge. You sent him help. That is what he does. It makes you thank the God who has done the things in these other people's lives. And that in itself is if there's no other reason why we should be grateful and thankful, this is one strong reason why we should be. Another thing is that it keeps you grounded. It makes you understand that there will be happy times, there will be sad times, but this is what you get out of it and how you interpret it. You know, does gratitude and health connect? Absolutely. So there's a study that shows that if you practice gratitude, that it will lead you to, several things. One is an intimate relationship, connected relationships with people. Why? Because people will know that you're a positive energy person. People will know that you're a good person at the core of who you are, and it makes them want to invest in you. So from investing in you, you have sound and qualitative relationships with everyone, people of the same sex, people of the opposite sex, without even having any ulterior motives, because that is what it is. With health, it also leads to less depression because you are not doing more than yourself. You understand that in this life, day your day, I day my day. That things are happening for you now. I will rejoice with you. I will celebrate with you. I will write it in my gratitude journal, but my turn is also coming. So therefore, I am not depressed. I am not comparing my life to yours. I am not comparing your life to mine. And that ultimately leads to less depression. It makes you more motivated and it keeps your engagement. Like I said, you are inquisitive. You want to know what's happening. What's the update of the story you shared with me? You shared with me something in 2018. What's the update? Have you been able to get a child now? Have you been able to adopt a child? Have you been able to get the child through surrogacy? Not dwelling predominantly on can people get pregnant? Can people get pregnant? Because why? Is the fact that a couple can even have a child through any secondary means is also something to be grateful for. And that is something that gratitude also does. It makes you remember the happy times and good times, and it keeps you engaged and motivated. And finally, and without a doubt, what gratitude does in terms of well-being is that it just gives you a holistic, overview about your health. You are not worried about many things. You are not scared about what the journey. Yes, the journey it will pain you. For someone that they don't give visa, oh my, and you're not going more from visa. Let's be very honest. But then the person is mindful that, you know what, a lot of people can actually not afford certain things, and I'm here. So for that reason, I'm grateful. One thing I have learned from this gratitude journey is that it is not a positive thing for me to say, God, thank you that I have a house. Imagine the people under the bridge. It is not a good mindset. Why? Because they are not better than you are. Neither are you better than they are. But it is just time and chance. That you have a roof over your head is an amazing thing to be grateful for. But you will not be grateful at the expense of someone else's unpleasant experience, which is something I see a lot of us do, a lot of us have. Even in Christianity, when somebody is sharing a testimony, it could have been worse, but it is not worse. So in this moment in my life, in this journey, don't remind me of how worse it could have been. Let us stay here where I know that it could have been better than where it is that I am. And it's something that we have to be very, very, very intentional about. When you express gratitude, it makes you optimistic. By nature, I am a very, very highly optimistic person by nature, and I believe very strongly that it comes with my DNA, possibly in my dad. But then what I also notice is that with gratitude, I am even becoming a lot more positive and a lot more optimistic about many things, many, many, many things. Gratitude does that. It does that for you. It makes you, on the days where you don't have where to go, you are grateful. On the days where you have places to go, you are equally thankful. So I believe very strongly that it's very necessary for people to look at the power that lies in gratitude. It is such an understated and such, an extensive reach of what gratitude means. But the starting point for a lot of people is the mindfulness, is intentionality, and the consistency. And it always starts with journaling. So if by nature you are not somebody who is optimistic, you always see the glass, half full, empty. One thing that I know that helps is start journaling. Use whatever method works for you. Write it on your phone. Have a diary that you have. Whatever it is, do it. Do it for 30 days. From 30 days, invite a friend of yours to say, see, Abel, come, let's do this thing. Do it for 60 days. For 60 days, you look for a third person. No, a second person actually. So you do it for 90 days. By the time you guys do it for 6 months consistently, what happens is that subconsciously, before you sleep, right, even when you hit the bed, you jolt out of your sleep to say, oh, I haven't filled my gratitude jar today. Oh, I haven't done this today. Why? Because you know that you're keeping track of all the things that you are thankful about. And it always starts from mindfulness and consistency. So yeah, I think that summarizes my whole session.
Thank you so much. In fact, I was picking quite a bit from what you were saying, especially the part about journaling. I remember when I was going through my bedridden year, 6 months of being bedridden, and then after that, when I started using my crutches, I was really down and it's not her. She used to have removed herself. Oh, sorry, my network was playing up. That's what happened. Okay, so I was saying that when I was going through all my challenges, I decided to have a journal. I would have really called it a journal, gratitude journal, but it was a journal of just putting all my thoughts and all my worries, everything. I just poured it, and 2 days later, I'll come back to the journal and read it, and I'll be like, "You mean I actually wrote this? But things are not really that bad, are they?" And I will analyze and what are the challenges and what I can make myself better for, based on what I wrote. And at the end of the day, it's what I even used to write my autobiography, which was the irony of it all. I just gathered bits, and sometimes we don't realize the potential of writing that journal down. So if there's any questions, anybody has questions, please put it down. But one thing I know, you said that gratitude being thankful can be very difficult, because I live in a space, because of all the challenges we go through as warriors. We rarely find it easy to find something that we're grateful for, which I feel always affects us in the long run. It's more about.
And again, I would say that it is programming, which is why all that I have shared this afternoon is how to deprogram. You have to rewire. You have to write again your programming. It is just what it is. There is no hard and fast rule about it. No pastor is going to lay hands on you and one day, voila, you become somebody who will start to see the positives. If I tell you the many things that I wish had happened this year, or the many things that have happened to me that have been utterly unpleasant, you'll be shocked to your bones. But then the reality is, we move, like we say it, we move. We don't have a problem about it. Because really, what's the essence of my complaining that I have only 5,000 naira in my account, and just thinking and then increasing it to high blood pressure? One medication, to even see a cardiologist, a doctor for high blood pressure, you need more. You will spend more than the 5,000 that you once had, simply because you have added problems to what it is. So it is, rewiring. We need to write our programming again, and nobody is going to do it for us except by ourselves. If we don't see the need why we should do it, there's no way we can survive that. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Abby says, a grateful heart makes you whole. Yeah, makes you whole. Yes. And then Adenike says, gratitude journal is a must. Yes, it is indeed a must. So we have to. So if you have questions, I know some of us have just joined. In case you feel you've missed something, you can ask questions on this topic. We still have a few more minutes before we bring in our next guest, who is standing by. But I would even say, because I want people to feel the impact of your story of being grateful. Could you just give us a short scenario of your story? I know you wrote a book. You can talk about it as well. So just a scenario, because some people may not know you. They may just know you as one person, but they don't know you as someone. celebrity, and
You know,
because you
for
have
me,
people who do
I
that.
think that yeah, that's an indicator why it's interesting to a lot of people that I am this optimistic or I'm grateful. I believe very strongly that I had to be intentional about it. You know, losing see my crutches are right here. You know, it's not. I have one leg, um, and I'm seated in my well, it's supposed to be what's it called, a study in my house, but I just moved, so it's still very. And I have moved on in quotes. Of course, I miss my, my leg that was amputated, but then it's not coming back, possibly except maybe by a miracle of some sort. And what would my purpose be if I am just there wallowing? I become a problem. I'm sure I'll still be stuck at home. I may not have gotten
Mm,
finished with my university course. I may not have gone for NYSC. I may not have been called to bar. I may not have gotten a job in the media space. I may not have been, many, many things. But the truth is, you everybody has a reason why they should be down and out. Every single one of us. The most
mm,
successful people on the earth have reasons why they should be down and out. But one day we stand up and we realize that, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm going to
yeah.
do my best and I'm going to move on from this place and just, be me and find my peace. So the gratitude effect, I always say to people, is not a grandiose thing. It is a very minute thing, but has such an amazing and explosive impact if and when done
Mm,
consistently. One way to also start is by showing gratitude. If you find it difficult seeing what you should be grateful for in your life, start to show gratitude. Think of the people who have dashed you free money this year, for starters, if anybody has. Pick up your phone and
mhm,
send them a text message. You just say, "Hi, I just thought to check up on you. God bless you." And you have no idea how much impact that will put on the faces or in the hearts of these individuals if you're fortunate enough to have a lot of those individuals. So it's
mm,
a very simple thing, but it has a grand effect. So start to do it today and see how it completely transforms and utterly changes your life. And I mean that it will change your life. Never once did I think that I was going to pay attention to the things I'm paying attention to. Which is why I said being grateful or showing gratitude is not by itself what will have an overall effect on your life. But by the time you start to drink water, you start to eat vegetables, you start to exercise, you start to read more books, you start to invest in yourself, and you have a grateful heart and you show thankfulness, your life completely changes. It's like a 360 turnaround. And at the end of the year, if you so desire to
mm,
check your journal, you'll be overwhelmed by the amazing things that happened, even in 2020, a year that
mhm,
really came hard at everyone. A few days ago on Twitter, someone said, to be very honest, has this year been good to you? And I'll be very frank with you to say, yes, this year has been good to me as a person. I've had, severe
yeah.
devastating experiences, honestly, but this year has ultimately been good to me. So if I do not remember anything, I remember all of my friends who were, who had
Mhm,
successfully
mhm,
delivered their children. And,
mm,
conception, pregnancy, and birth are a miracle all put together. And because I can experience
yeah.
this through my friends, it's enough reason for me to be thankful in 2020. So, yes.
Exactly, exactly. So true. I remember the time I went, and they told me that I would start using the wheelchair. I went depressed for a while. Then I started thinking of all the positives I can do. And one
Mm.
of the positive, which was a bucket list for me, was to run the marathon. So for once, I had an electric wheelchair to run the marathon, 10K kilometers. So I was grateful for something to run on my bucket
Yep,
list.
yep.
On a lighter note, Yomi says, but Yomi, you're not serious. He says, we can be thankful for bad record on our way to good network.
I saw it though. I saw it. Then Sheun said, gratitude effect. Indeed, being alive alone is worth being grateful for. And I
Yes.
completely agree, especially when we remember what has happened in this entire stretch of
Mm,
2020.
mm, mm.
Having people who have means, seeing people who have all the money and know the highest people in the world lose their fights to coronavirus is not, a
Yeah.
small thing. It's not a small thing. And the fact that for people who caught it and people who have successfully been, recovered from it, that is enough reason to be grateful. And Adenike says entitlement mentality is a negative part that doesn't allow citizens to be grateful. Absolutely. Nobody deserves, nobody owes you anything in life. So if you get it, please be grateful. No matter who does it, your spouse, your children, your siblings, your parents, show gratitude. I remember getting my dad something last year and him calling me, and he was so grateful. He was so grateful that I just burst out in tears, crying, saying, "You really don't have to show me this much gratitude." But then he did. He still did. And I'm very grateful that I have a family that can show me what it is to see what gratitude does and how it, and to be very frank, and that is, so, the funny thing is, if you give me something today and I thank you for it, you'll be excited to give me a next time. So I will never run out of what it is. That is another effect of
exactly.
We always feel like we don't have enough. So because we don't have enough, we don't feel the need to donate a 500 naira donation to that person who has a story on social media trying to raise funds, or that 1,000 naira. And what gratitude does is that gratitude makes you see that nothing is too small, especially if it's from a heart that is given towards a good cause. So go for it. And that's what gratitude does.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been an interesting conversation. I've even picked extra, although some I people always say, what happened? Okay, she went off. Well, anyway, we've technically ended anyway, and our next guest is on the line. So we'll take a break and we'll come back with our guest. I'll wait a few seconds to make sure she doesn't come online, but in the meantime, we'll head back to okay, she's come, so we can wrap up properly. Yeah, I was just rounding up anyway.
I'm so sorry, I mistakenly ended it.
Oh, okay. No problem. We are rounding up anyway. So thank you so much for this time with us. God bless you. What is the title of your book again? I forgot. Adenike, right?
Oh yeah, Adenike.
And when can they get it?
It's online, it's on Amazon, it's at Roving Heights, it's at Latana. Yes.
Thank you. All right. So get a book.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure you'll be inspired by it. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Okay.
My name is Miriam Lawani, and I'm the founder of Green Hill Recycling. Green Hill Recycling is a social enterprise that is addressing the poverty and unemployment issues in Nigeria using recyclable solid waste as the currency of exchange. The experience as an entrepreneur in the waste management sector has been bittersweet. It's been a roller coaster. The rewarding part is the fact that you can, create jobs for people. Through waste, you can put food on the tables of people. No, I'm happy to be a woman. I don't think things would have worked any differently if I was a male. There are certain doors that open better because you're a woman. There's a soft spot, I believe, for women. And if women are charting this territory that men are also, able to survive or flourish in, I'm happy to be one of those women who are breaking barriers in the waste management sector. Fidelity Bank is one of the few SME-focused banks in Nigeria, and last year I got into the SME Connect pitching competition. I emerged second place, and I was given ₦1 million to support my business. That fund went into helping to purchase a billing machine. So we've been able to move from collection to processing through the support of Fidelity Bank. I'll say to any female entrepreneur listening to me out there that there are no barriers anymore. If you are sure about what business your gut feeling is saying you should go into, please go for it. And while in the process, stay focused, stay resilient, and don't give up.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
All right, we're back, and I'm going to introduce our guest. He is Toluse Francis, and I will just run his bio and bring him up.
Toluse Do Francis is currently the founder and senior consultant of Rule Consulting Limited, offering services such as research, therapy, training, and coaching. As a mental health educator, he is constantly educating people across the world through his course, which till date has over 14,000 enrollments. He is also the convener of a yearly event tagged Breaking the Habit Code, where he helps individuals break habits that hinder them from being their very best. Toluse has been on radio and television programs such as Be All You Can Be, Seriously Speaking with Adeshua, Robin Minds, and many others. He hosts a weekly show tagged Rise Above It, targeted at workplace mental health in order to create awareness around workplace wellness. Internationally, he is a board director at the World Federation for Mental Health and was recently recognized as one of the most influential people of African descent, class of 2020, in the health and medical category. He speaks at conferences and seminars home and abroad. Toluse has published books such as Eat Fit, a nutritional blueprint for healthy living, Beyond Blue, a step-by-step to coping with grief and loss, preventing and managing depression. Here is how to break up stress, how to love yourself, a guide to being your very best, and many more. When he's not having therapy sessions, he's either having conversation via his newsletter dubbed Conversations with Toluse, which you can subscribe to via tolusefrancis.subtract.com, or chatting about his favorite club, Arsenal. Toluse loves reading and traveling. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Toluse Francis to the Positive and Wellness Summit as he speaks on building a resilient spirit, how to bounce back in the midst of setbacks.
He's gone off. He's gone off. Okay, all right. We are back, and we're going to bring on Toluse. He's having some technical hitches, so Toluse, are you on now? Let me add you. Okay, still having technical issues. While he's being sorted, don't forget to send your comments, of course, about chatting and everything. But I want to do a shout out, special shout out to one of our board members who is 50 today. Her name is Banke. Okay. Happy birthday, Banke Alawaye, as we do a special shout out on behalf of Sickle Cell Advocacy and Management Initiative. So I now bring on our guest, Toluse Francis. Hey. Hi, Toluse, are you there? You seem to be frozen. Hello? Hello, Toluse, are you there? I think your network is a bit slow.
Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, fine. Yes, we can now hear you. Your network is a bit slow, but we can hear you. Yeah.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
So welcome to the Positive and Wellness. Yes, I can hear you very well. I can hear you very well. Can you hear me? Your network seems to be a bit slow.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Okay, can you go ahead? I'll leave you to do. Yes, you can start now. So Toluse is going to talk about being resilient. Okay, I should give you a minute. Do you need a break? I'll give you a few seconds break. Okay. All right. We'll be back.
Yes, I'm fine. more support for that. Okay, so we should be here. I said just on the cost of resilience. This is a particular topic that I'm very concerned and passionate about.
Your network. Hi, Toluse. Your network is still, you're freezing. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You seem to be freezing. There's a delay in your talk. Okay, all right, go ahead, because you got frozen for a bit. Okay, I think we have an issue, technical issue. Back.
Here are the things to do to avoid getting or spreading the coronavirus. Always wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water. Carry with you and use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer at all times. Avoid touching your face unnecessarily. When you cough or sneeze, do so in a bent elbow and not in your hands. If you cough or sneeze on a tissue, dispose immediately. Endeavor to wear a face mask when you go out. Dispose of the face mask properly after use. Should you feel unwell and show symptoms, call the NCDC and follow their instructions. Stay safe. Maintain social distance. Fidelity cares about you.
Okay, so Toluse is back. Let's hope the network will be better. Hi, Toluse. Hello. Okay.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Great.
Okay. So, Gav, of resilience, the particular I love to talk about a lot because it's one issue that I think every individual needs. So, I mean, let's begin with the story of Thomas Edison, for example. Thomas Edison started out, the invention on the electric bulb. He failed a lot of times, but he never gave up. He continued. He persevered. That is a show of resilience. Resilience is when you don't give up. You don't give up on something that you want to do, something that you want to achieve. So what is the definition of resilience to begin with? So resilience is the ability to successfully adapt, right, to difficult life situations and experiences. It's not that those situations are palatable. It's not that those situations are the best for you, but you are able to adapt to those situations at any given point in time. And some factors that might help in terms of resilience are things like supportive relationships. I mean, we all need relationships that are supportive. We all want to experience some full of support from people around us, family members, friends, whoever they are. We all want to experience some level of support. We also want a sense of self-efficacy, and nobody wants to be a liability to anybody. And so you really want to show that you are able to do things. You want to show that you're able to belong, all right, and take care of yourself. Adaptive skills of self-regulation. Now, we'll talk about self-regulation. Is similar to talking about self-control. Right? You're able to drive what exactly it is that you do, how you respond to situations, how you respond to circumstances around you. You are not that kind of person who is always spontaneous, that you would have acted before you even think about things that you should respond to. And then for some, you need a source of hope and faith for you to keep going, source of hope and faith for you to remain who you are, and cultural tradition. In the African setting, we all know that culture is something that we are very, very concerned about. Yeah, things like this, how we do it, where we are from, this is how we do it, where we come from, and a host of other things. So really want to pay attention to things like that. But you may want to ask yourself, why do I need resilience? Is it compulsory? Is it necessary for me to build resilience? Do I to bounce back when things go wrong? The truth of the matter is we all need resilience. A whole lot has happened in 2020. We started the year, nobody knew that anything was going to happen, and suddenly from nowhere, COVID-19 showed up. And we're there on lockdown, different parts of the world, March, April, May, June, July, August. And as we were beginning to come gradually, vandalization and so on. And some people are struggling to get back on their feet, get their businesses in order, and a host of other things. Now, imagine I wonder how so you need resilience, because it cannot completely eliminate your problems, right? But it makes challenges, right? It makes challenges look like they are not very difficult. Resilience allows you to understand that no matter the challenges that you face, right, you are able to remain and to continue to exist. All right, resilience makes you to understand that life cannot override you. That when unexpected events happen, you are able to stand because you have a resilient spirit. And so when others are talking about pain, when others are grumbling and murmuring, resilience reminds you of the fact that, look, this might be painful, but you will definitely come back. Resilience creates a room for optimism. It allows you to be optimistic of the situations that you have found yourself. It's not that other people are not facing difficult challenges. It's not like you're not facing difficult time yourself. But you see, that resilient mind gives room for you to actually remain positive and optimistic. I'm going to share with you here today 4 pillars of building resilience. Just one, knowing your core personal value. Each time I have any reason to meet clients, who call me or working for therapy, we're going through sessions. 2 things that I talk about is self-identity and values. Your personal core values will dictate what you will do, what you will say, places you will go to. In fact, it's the foundation that you build on. Your core values will determine the kind of business you will engage in. Your core values will determine what you would eat and drink. Your core values will determine where you will go to. And so you can't afford, right, to live your life without any sense. And so if you're listening to me or watching me, and you have no core value, you've not sat down to develop what your values are, you need to do that today. All right. Don't let this year go by without you building for yourself what your core values are. It's the foundation that you build on. The second pillar is building on your strength. You must know what your strengths are. What are you strong at? What are you capable of doing? Enough of you paying attention to your weakness. In a podcast episode that I released this morning, I was talking about how we can be very critical of ourselves. We find it difficult to actually look at our wins and how our journey has been. You can't afford to live that kind of life. So focus on your strength. What is your strength? Your strength is your personal power. Your strength is what you build on. So what exactly is your strength? Look within you. What is your strength? The third building block, or the third pillar that I'll share with you, is you learn to prioritize long-term goals. You need to learn to prioritize. You see, if you live your life with the mind of now, you would find it difficult to move from one stage successful to the other stage. So grab your piece of paper and a pen. Look at the things that you want to do or the things that you need, and begin to prioritize them. Which is more important? Which do I need to start now? Which can come up later? You see, no matter how wealthy you are or how, in quote, poor you think you may be, your health is something that you cannot put below the priority table. Your health must be number one on the priority table because, like they say in Pidgin these days, wahala for who no get energy, wahala for who no get one thing or the other. The truth is, if you're not physically fit, if you're not mentally fit, you'll be wasting your time trying to do anything. And so no matter the challenge you're facing, please prioritize your health. I like Adenike shared on mindfulness. That is one other good thing that can help you in terms of bouncing back from setbacks. And the third pillar that I'll share with you is your wellness, which I talked about briefly. You need to build on your wellness. When I talk about wellness, I'm talking about physical wellness, mental wellness, social wellness. How much of socialization do you do? Are you the kind of person who locks him or herself indoors? And I love to be on my own. I just like my sphere. I just like my corner. Come on. You were not created or formed to live alone. You are a social being. You are made to interact with people. And how will people know what you're experiencing if you don't voice out? How will they know what your challenges are if you don't interact with people? How will they know what you can even do? How will people know your strength if you don't interact with them? And so you can't afford to lock yourself up. Look, I want to encourage you today, if you're listening to me, it doesn't matter what you're experiencing. It doesn't matter the things that have happened to you this year. Some may be saying that 2020 has been a bad year. It doesn't matter. What I want to say to you today is to rise up from that setback, is to rise up from the bad thing that happened to you and develop a sense of optimism. Tell yourself that I am strong at this and this and this. This is what I can do. This is my strength. Look at your core values. I like them. And what have you built on? How much attention have you paid to your fitness and your wellness? And I said your wellness is both the physical wellness, the mental wellness, and your social wellness. No matter how strong you are emotionally, if you are weak physically, you're going nowhere. No matter how strong you are physically, if emotionally you are downcast, you're going nowhere. Both of them go together. The Yoruba that says Okunu lafin betita. It simply means that it is the strength within that you use to push yourself externally. If you're not strong internally, you cannot do anything. And some people, they get to work and they just put their head on their desk. What is wrong with you? I don't get myself. I don't even know what is wrong with me. But the person is strong. The person is not weak. It's because internally that person is not well. Now, what are some of the activities that you can do to help your wellness? Take part in physical activities as much as you can. Play games. If you're not able to move around, play games. You have Scrabble, you have Monopoly, you have Ludo, you have whatever game it is. Play games with people. All right. Sleep properly. Look, sleep is very, very key. One of the speakers yesterday talked about sleep. You cannot joke with sleep. I mean, I took my time earlier in the year, was it last year, to do a course on sleep issue. And what that happened in the past week, some people are suffering for what we call secondary trauma. They did not lose anybody or anything. Nothing was vandalized. But the pictures that they have seen, the things that they have seen, what I've heard people say is traumatizing them. And some have lost sleep. You can't afford to joke with sleep. And so if you're struggling with sleep right now, look for help. It is very important. Look, all this sermon of if you sleep for 8 hours, you have to cut off your life, blah, 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 blah. Look, for me, I don't deal with that. What is important is if you're able to sleep well at night, you're able to function well during the day. That night that you're not able to sleep for 2 hours, you're going to pay for it during the day. And so why get that sleep? So you can sleep properly at night. People sleep at night. Those who work during the night sleep during the day. So whichever way your calendar is, whichever way your schedule is, see to it that you prioritize your sleep as much as you prioritize what you eat, and also get active physically. So I talk about nutrition now. Your food is very important. What do you eat? Eat healthy. Eat foods that boost your immune system. Eat foods that will help you, that will help your brain function properly. Eat foods that are very colorful. Make your plate very colorful. Don't just arrange anyhow. If you're going to put that wheat or semo in your plate, put it properly. Let it look attractive to you yourself. Don't just eat for eating's sake. When I was in secondary school studying food and nutrition, there was something that they taught us about treating someone who is sick, that you need to make the food attractive for the person. They call it coloring. So mix colors in your food. Jollof rice and fried rice gives you a good color. Don't just put food in your plate and like, shebi na to chop. No. The way the food appears to you is important. Why do people go on Instagram to check out those who are selling? I say, I like to arrange this food. This food must be delicious. It's because the way it's arranged makes that. Even if that food is not sweet, the picture already is calling you. Social contact, like I said, social contact. You need to make social contact with people. All right. People. Now, let me talk about the importance of resilience. The importance of resilience. Number one, people who are resilient, all right, see difficulty as a challenge and not as a paralyzing situation. I'll take that again. Resilient people, right, they see any difficulty as a challenge. They don't see any difficulty as a paralyzing event. The fact that they're experiencing a difficult moment does not mean that that is the end for them, and so they don't give up. Number two, commitment. Resilient people are committed to the things that they do. It might be hard, it might be difficult, but they keep going. And that's simply because they believe that nothing would indeed come easy, but they need to keep working at that thing. Number three, personal control. The other time I talked about self-regulation. People who are resilient need to learn to control themselves. Personal control. Control what you say, control what you do, control what you hear, control what you watch, because you want to feed yourself with the things that are helpful for you and to you. You don't just want to feast on just anything. No, you want to pay attention to things that come into your system. Number four, like I said before, optimism. So people who are resilient also understand that nothing is permanent, but they're optimistic that things will change. Look, there's something about me. If you're pessimistic beside me, we can't be friends. I don't relate people who are pessimistic. People who give up completely that nothing can change. I remember many years ago, I got a job and I wanted to change the department. People were telling, if you go there, nothing will happen to you. They will not promote a little group. Let me go. You must have an optimistic mindset. You must understand that nothing is permanent. I say this every time I have the opportunity. The rich wants to be richer, and that's why nobody will sit down and say, hey, I'm now rich. All the money I have is enough for me. No, they keep working. The poor is afraid of getting poorer. And so you don't see any poor man who says, I am poor enough. This is okay for me. No more poverty. I'm okay with this level of poverty rather. No. So the poor continues to work because he or she wants to get rich as well. So there is no permanence in life. So you keep going. Whether you're healthy, whether you're tired, whether you have lost it, you keep going. So the resilient people keep going because they believe that things will get better. They don't go to bed and say, well, it's finished. That's the end of it all for me. No, Temiti Bame, I'm done. No. They are optimistic, and so they keep pushing. They are not pervasive, right? They're not pervasive. They keep moving. They don't assume that, look, at this point, this is the best I can do. They keep moving. Now, this is one thing about those who are resilient. This next one I'm going to mention is very common. Blame game. A resilient person never wants to believe that the fault is from him or her. They always look for either someone or something to blame it on. If they don't blame it on the economy, they'll blame it on somebody. I remember some months ago, I was having a conversation with someone. I said, but why did you? I said, no, somebody has to, it's Buhari's fault. Somebody has to take the blame. But why did you not do this one now? I said, yes, well, somebody has to take the fault. People who are resilient never believe that the fault is from them. This is helpful and is also dangerous. It's dangerous because if you keep looking at other people as the reason for whatever has happened to you, it will be a bit difficult for you to look within and make corrections. But if you understand that certain things have happened that you could have done better, it allows you to look inward, all right, and make changes. Okay, so this has two sides to it. Now I'm going to conclude by talking about building resilience in the workplace. Now, this is because we can talk about resilience on a personal level. We can talk about resilience in the workplace or in terms of business, right? Now, if you want to practice resilience, if you want to be able to withstand any pressure at work, any gazbos that come against you at the workplace or your business, again, I'll repeat, get enough sleep. Otherwise, you will slip off your work time, right? Look, there's something about sleep. When you wake up, try it. You feel a fresh of breath here. It feels like this is a whole new world for you. That's what sleep does to you. And so you can't afford to joke with it. Number two, practice thought awareness. Be aware of your thoughts. When any particular thought is beginning to come into your mind that is going to demoralize you, grab that thought, ask it, yes, what are you doing here? You are not supposed to be within me. Throw it away. If it's a good one, allow it to stay, ponder on it, right? Sift it and take the good one and throw the bad one away. But you need to be aware of your thought process. Practice cognitive restructuring. That is, change the way you think about negative situations. Look, if you dwell too much on negative situations, you will not be able to make any good thing out of your life. And so things may go wrong quite all right. The question is, what lesson do I pick from this that happened? Do not focus on the negative situation. Do not focus on negative events. Instead, look at what solution you can bring to that negative situation. That way, you are forward thinking. You're forward thinking. You are not thinking in the moment. You are not living the moment of the failure or whatever has happened, but you're forward thinking and you are looking ahead. Learn from your mistakes and failures in your workplace, in your business. If you have lost things, I empathize with you. But hey, learn from your mistakes and your failures. I was having a conversation with a couple of people yesterday and I said, look, if you think that doing third-party insurance, not doing fire and burglary insurance is best for you, for some who have experienced some vandalization this period, now you will understand that if only you had known, you should have done comprehensive. That's just an example. So whatever lesson you're picking right now, whatever experience you have at the moment, sit down, learn from the mistakes and the failures and make adjustments. Don't just sleep on it and say, we move. No, don't just move. Move in a positive direction and change things for yourself. Next is avoid blowing issues out of proportion. Sometimes we exaggerate things that have happened to us, making it difficult for us to even say headway or make headway rather. So don't blow things out of proportion. Sit down, get a pen, write down what has happened, and ask yourself what is the way forward. Don't go, hey, all the 5,000 that I have, as we doesn't. No. Take it easy. It's not easy, yes, but you can make it easy. Don't blow it out of proportion. Take it one step at a time, and be able to arrive at a solution. And finally, develop strong relationships. Again, I cannot emphasize that. Develop strong relationships. You need people in your life. Thank you very much.
This my mute issues. Thank you so much, Toluse. That was short and to the point. Yes, we picked up one thing. The first thing you were talking about was core values. For people who may not know, can you break down what core values is? Because I've realized a lot of people talk about values, but I think some people don't understand what it actually means. So can you just break it down a bit for people?
Great. So core values are those things that if ever that thing is removed from you, they define who you are. If you are stripped of everything that you have, if Charles is going to talk about Cynthia, if Eze is going to talk about Cynthia, both of them should be able to say the same thing about Cynthia because Cynthia has shown it to them who she really is. And so your core values, as they are said, are things that make you up, are things that people see. It's not from self-identity. Identity is you knowing who you are. Identity is you being able to say, this is who I am. But core values is what you stand on, is the foundation of your existence. And so if I'm going to talk about Tony Adeshola, for example, I know that she's someone who keeps pushing. So Tony is an optimistic person. Tony is this person. Tony is that. If I'm going to talk about different people, so core values are things that you have built for yourself. I mean, I can say it anywhere. If anybody asks me about Auntie T, I'll say, look, Auntie T is that woman that is very optimistic and believes she can do things herself. Until she has tried it and she's not able to enhance, she'll call for help, but she doesn't give up easily. That is a core value. You don't need to tell me, but in our interactions, in our conversations, I have seen it. Do you understand? So people will see it in you, but you must develop it yourself and then leave it out.
Exactly. Thank you so much. And thank you for using it as an example. I was laughing at the part that you said that if she will try it, it's only when she cannot do it that she'll give it to somebody else. You know me, you know me. All right. Another thing is that I wanted to talk about was that resilience. People have challenges in terms of maybe health challenges, a loss in the family. It's different from just regular stress resilience. These are more like traumatic resilience. How can one take steps to be able to bounce back from that, especially when you have some negative news concerning situations that create a trauma?
So when it comes to challenges, especially in terms of health, what I would say about that is don't sit down and tell yourself I am strong. Be sure that you reach out for help and you interact with people. So I talked about social interaction. When you are ill or when you are sick or when you are traumatized, you need social interaction. I understand how difficult it is sometimes to tell your story, especially when trauma is involved, right? But you see, build a circle, no matter how small the circle can be. Build a circle where you can share the things that are pressing to, right? Build a circle of people that you can always reach out to. Number two is don't sit down in your house and say, I can read on Google and I'll be fine. Seek professional help. Talk to a doctor, talk to a physician. If mental, talk to a therapist, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist. Seek help. Now, as you seek this help, you're going to be building yourself, right, for other things that would happen to you. Okay, so I hope that people don't just see seeking professional help as an immediate thing. No, it solves both the immediate and at some point solves the future, right? Because in dealing with that, you're building resilience in terms of whatever comes your way again. If I'm able to overcome this, and I can overcome any other thing. Listen to inspirational stories of people, right? Hear what people have to say. Hear what people have experienced. For example, if you're having any challenge with any part of your body, listen to people like Adenike who just slept. You pick lessons from that. I have a friend, Toby Ajayi, who works with people of cerebral palsy. Pick stories from them. For those in sickle cell, you have Auntie T, over 50. She'll still standing. Ask her, Auntie, how are you doing it? You're still standing. You still move around. You organize this on me. Learn from stories of people who have had that kind of a trance gone ahead of you. That way, you build resilience for yourself. You've lost businesses. You've lost money. There are people out there who have lost money and they are still standing or they're back to their feet. Ask them, how far did you do it? All right. Don't just stay alone. Don't carry the burden alone. Be optimistic that whatever happens to you is not the end. You can always bounce back.
I for me, not focus and isolate yourself, because I know when we're going through challenges, that's when we decide to stay in one corner, don't be involved, but we need to speak up and tell our issues and share. The person may not necessarily have the solution, but the fact that you open up your heart and talk to somebody about what you're going through will help a lot. Somebody is saying, Fumi is saying, let me just, okay. She says, I have an art. Oh, it went off. Okay. She says, I have a heart.
I think I saw it.
Okay. I have a heart alignment and so it makes me cry deeply.
Oh, for me, I empathize with you. I empathize with you. I cannot tell you that I understand. I can't imagine how painful it might be for you because, I mean, pain exists. What I can say, right, is, whatever steps you're taking in terms of talking to doctors and all, right, I trust that a solution would come. But you see, while you're at it, you wake up every morning, right, you're still awake, you're still alive, right? Be grateful for that, number one. Number two, understand that this pain, right, might be there, okay, but what is the story that you have to tell other people. Let me share something with everyone watching. Whatever it is that you're experiencing, it's an opportunity for you to write a story. It's an opportunity for you to strengthen someone else. Look, you can receive strength in writing your story. You can receive optimism in writing your story. Your story might be what will help you realize that you have that strength that you don't even know that you have. And so, like you said, somebody that you shared something with may not have the solution to that problem, but a hug, a word of encouragement from that person can lift up your soul. Which is why, for me again, don't lock yourself indoors. Don't keep yourself alone. No matter what it is, please interact with people. Make yourself laugh, right? Don't give yourself a death sentence before the time. All right. I trust that by the grace of God, you someday find that pain being lifted up your chest and you'll be whole again. I have this book that I put together, Techniques of Motivation. It's a book that I put together that every day you pick something like a capsule from it and you're able to find something to keep going to motivate you. Maybe I'll send the link later. It's very, the sale is very minute, but look, it's something that for people who have attended this conference, it's an ebook. It's just 1,000 naira. It's an ebook. Take it every day. Something motivate, something to remind you that you're still alive, something to give you a sense of optimism to keep going and pushing.
Exactly. Even when you were talking about it's an opportunity to write a book. I remember when I was going through all I was going through, and I had a late maternal grandmother telling me to write my book. I didn't realize the impact she was saying. She probably saw more than I did, and I felt, what am I writing about? When I eventually wrote that book, I saw a different perspective to what I was going through. I saw the impact that it made and what created the Sickle Cell and Advocacy and Management Initiative today. So sometimes you may think, oh, it's the worst thing that I have experienced, but that experience you're living with now can be somebody else. So thank you so much for being on the show. For us who have been listening to Toluse, give a high five clap. If you've been enjoying his talk, and I hope you can take something about it from it. Resilience is something that you have to do on a day-to-day basis. It's not something that is automatic. You have to be very intentional about it. He was saying I'm very optimistic and all that. I said, yes, sometimes you have your downtimes. That's the human aspect of you. But you have to realize that despite whatever you are going through, there are parts of life that you can live on and be positive about, and that will carry you through once you remember those good things. Yeah. All right. If somebody is saying, I would love to read those books, so how would they get the books?
Okay, so you reach out to me directly on Instagram at Toluse Francis, and then I will take it over either through Instagram, or you can send me. But Instagram, since everyone is on social media, just send me a message on Instagram at Toluse Francis.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Toluse, for your talk and your impact that you've made. Yeah, it's been great. So thank you again, and have a lovely, lovely weekend. All right, guys. Enjoy that topic. Resilience is very, very, very important. We are through a lot as people and as a nation, so it's very important that we bounce back. Yes, challenges may come, but I always say our challenges are only stepping stones to greater success, and it's therefore important that we always bounce back and be optimistic. And remember what Adenike said, keep a journal. Those journals help you learn from your experience and understand what your challenges are and make things better. So we're good. We'll have a break after this last guest before we come back for session 2 for even more. So I'm right back.
Dr. Folasade Popoola, consultant clinical hematologist with a passion for helping sickle cell warriors live their best quality lives. Trained in Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Lagos, and St. James University Teaching Hospital, Leeds, she is a UK certified clinical hematologist trained in care of all blood disorders and blood marrow transplant. Dr. Popoola is the medical director, Next Hematology in Medicare, a world-class medical center in Surulere, Lagos, Nigeria, with a focus on apheresis, which includes automated exchange blood transfusions for sickle cell and a vision towards bone marrow and stem cell transplant. Also included are services for treatment of patients with blood disorders, comprehensive laboratory, theater, and consultations with other specialists. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Dr. Folasade Popoola to the Positive and Wellness Summit as she speaks on my belly, my head, how to manage pain, chronic pain, and sickle cell crisis.
Okay, we are back, and we are with Dr. Folasade Popoola. Hi, Shade. Good to see you again.
You too. You're looking very bright and beautiful.
I'm still at it. That is why we are to help our health better. And today, and sickle cell crisis. 2 or 3 years ago, that I realized there was a difference between chronic pain and sickle cell crisis. I thought all of them were the same, but don't necessarily have sickle cell crisis, while some people have pre-sickle cell crisis, but don't necessarily have chronic pain, and some people have both, like I do. So it's good to be able to talk about this subject so that people can be more informed and able to differentiate what is happening with their body. So over to you. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Shade Popoola, and I'm happy to be here. I'm a clinical hematologist, and today we'll be delving into the world of pain. Not a very sweet sensation, but it's one that, sickle cell or not, regardless, as human beings, we all have pain at some point or the other. Now, specifically for sickle cell, it's important to be able to then know what kind of pain you're having and how to deal with these pain when they come. So the title, my belly, my head, was very apt, very, very on point, because that's exactly how many people feel when this pain comes up. So I'm going to start with the less known type of pain, which is the chronic pain. Now, chronic pain in sickle cell disease is defined as pain that is graded between the score of about 1 to 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst pain ever. So it's just pain that is not as severe as your crisis pain, but it is pain that is there, that you know is there nonetheless. And you know that, okay, you're not having a good day, you're not having a pain-free day, but the kind of pain you're having is not the typical crisis pain. It's just, mild to moderate. And this pain is said to be present for at least half of the days of the month, which is in a month of 30 days, about 15 days of the month, one experiences that pain. And whether or not it's relieved by painkillers, it doesn't really matter. The fact is that the pain is there on a scale of 1 to 5 for at least half of the days of the month, and that's what chronic pain is. Now, chronic pain is a phenomenon that came up more recently in the past 20 years or so in the study of sickle cell disease. And it's, for some people, if you ask the older clinicians, they may tell you, is there really anything like chronic pain? We know what crisis is. which one is chronic pain. But research has shown over the years that there is such a thing as chronic pain, and it has different origins. One of the origins is seen to be as a result of frequent crises, and the body after a while has sort of adapted and has sort of triggered. The nerves are all sort of always triggered, such that even when you don't have a crisis pain, the nerves are triggered all the time, and you may have pain in certain areas, especially those areas that you usually have crisis in. That's usually the neuropathic kind of chronic pain. However, there are other types of chronic pain that may occur. Now, this includes the type that is caused by a traumatic injury. So, if, for instance, somebody has, say, avascular necrosis of the head of femur caused by sickle cell, they can also have chronic pain that keeps occurring in that particular location. Of course, this is identifiable and relatable to the particular pathology that's affecting that organ. Okay, but somebody that has had gallstones, regardless of whether they've had surgery or not, sometimes they just keep having pain in that area. Of course, if the pathology that is present is still ongoing, we still keep having this pain in this area. So this is attributable to a known cause. So that way, in this case, treating that underlying pathology many times can help to relieve that chronic pain. And then there's the chronic pain that comes from deficiencies in certain types of vitamins and minerals. One of the key findings for sickle cell was vitamin D deficiency. And vitamin D deficiency has been shown to be quite very prominent in patients with sickle cell disease. And some studies have shown that when vitamin D deficiency is corrected, the chronic pain can actually be reversed. So that's one of the things that is known to cause chronic pain. Even in the absence of sickle cell disease, people with vitamin D deficiency will have pain, muscle aches and pains and other symptoms. So with sickle cell, it seems to be more prominent for certain reasons, maybe because the body uses it up more with bone repair. And this causes vitamin D deficiency to be more common in patients with sickle cell disease. And this deficiency, especially when severe or very severe, can cause chronic pain. And until that is corrected, until that is identified and corrected, that pain may persist for a long time and can be very debilitating. So that is for chronic pain. For chronic pain, one has to first of all identify the cause. It's important to first of all see a specialist. Make sure that whoever is seeing you understands, the diversities of the origin of chronic pain and sickle cell disease, so that they know exactly what to look for. Pinpointing the cause will then help to be able to, eradicate the problem. So that I'll say is for chronic pain. Now to the more common, more frequently encountered acute pain, which we all know as sickle cell crisis. Sickle cell crises are many, Bone pain crisis, otherwise known as vaso-occlusive crisis, is the most common, which is really what we'll be talking about today. However, other crises, of course, include sequestration crisis, in which case the blood is pulled into the spleen or the liver, causes the blood levels to drop very low. The hyperemolytic crisis, where the body breaks down the red cells more than before, causes a lot of yellowness of the eyes and reduction in the red cells as well. Chest crisis, also known as, that can actually occur with a lot of pain as well, especially in the chest region. And this, in addition to the pain, one would have difficulty breathing, cough, and usually a fever. And this can be very, very fatal. So it's important to recognize early and address it immediately. Now, back to the pain crisis. So, vaso-occlusive crisis or bone pain crisis, which is the most common type of crisis in sickle cell disease, is something that occurs in, I'm sure, each and every warrior here has had some experience with it. Some people more than others, and that's the peculiar thing about sickle cell. It's the phenotypes can be very different and the presentations can vary a lot. So you may have two siblings, both with sickle cell disease, having totally different presentations. I mean, you'd have one person who may be falling ill every month and another person who rarely falls ill. And so it's important to know what your own type of presentation tends to be. I think it's the most important thing is to be able to know yourself, especially as an adult with sickle cell or as a carer of a minor with sickle cell. It's important to know what happens usually with your child or with yourself. Now, bone pain crisis usually has triggers. Now, bone pain, of course, as the name implies, is pain occurring in the different bones of the body, different parts of the body, anywhere really, from the head to the arms, to the legs, to the ribs, any part of the body, and it just comes with excruciating pain that many times sends the warrior to the hospital, and they might have to be on admission for quite a while to be treated and to have resolution of the symptoms. So we all recognize bone pain crisis, but what is more important to recognize is what the trigger is. There is always a trigger for bone pain. In different people, different things at different times. And in our environment, if we're talking about in Nigeria, it's mostly caused by infections. Infections, mostly the most common of which will be malaria. So, which is why one of the routine drugs that is usually prescribed in any hematology clinic is paludrin or proguanil, which is an anti-malarial drug that helps to prevent malaria. Of course, if you have mosquito bites all the time, even if you're using paludrin or proguanil, you will still come down with malaria. So what's more important is to prevent mosquito bites as much as possible, with insecticides, with clearing the environment of, stagnant water, a lot of grass and things, vegetation that aid the growth of the organism. So it's important to prevent mosquito bites, to be able to prevent malaria, and of course use the preventive drug proguanil or paludrin regularly. That usually is the most common trigger for the sickle cell pain crisis in our environment. However, other triggers include dehydration. So dehydration is one of the other most common causes. So many times, for anybody who's come to, for instance, lose or seen any specialist, you always have them say, oh, you have to drink lots of water. You have to drink 3 liters of water a day if you're an adult, minimum. And many warriors tend to drink a lot of water. It's because when the blood is dry within the vessels, it tends to stick even more. The sickle cells are already sticky, and then when there's dehydration, they stick even more to the vessels. And of course, what will this cause? It will cause prevention. It will prevent the blood from flowing properly. Now, when this happens, the parts of the body that the blood isn't getting to start to complain, and that's when the pain comes up. So it's important to be well hydrated. It cannot be overemphasized. Hydration is so key with sickle cell, especially when you're in a hot environment like ours. Another thing is extremes of temperature. So very cold or very hot environments can trigger a pain crisis. Stress, emotional triggers. Sometimes it's even something that you didn't think will trigger it. So you have a bad day or a bad time at work with your boss, or you got very bad news, or you didn't do well in exams, or you're reading for exams and you're just very stressed mentally. These things can trigger a crisis. So it's important to slow down. Whatever you're doing, you have to pace it. If you're a student and of course you have to read, you have to study. So you're not the kind of person that will be waiting till 2 weeks to the exam to start reading. You know that you have to carry your books and read every time. Have your jottings, be ready so that you're not too stressed close to exams, because we see this all the time, students breaking down just before, or during exams. So emotional triggers are also very common. But of course, other infections, chest infections, urinary tract infections, other organisms within the body that tends to cause, the body to have a higher rate of metabolism would also cause, will also be a trigger for a sickle cell crisis. Now, what do we do? How do we identify? How do we prevent these things? So I always say that it's important, just as I said before, to know yourself. What are the things that can trigger my crisis and how can I prevent it? So I've said all those triggers. If we can prevent those things, many times we will not fall ill. Secondly, would be to have a plan, a pain treatment plan, I always call it. Now, first of all, it's good to have a diary. So there's a pain diary that you can create by yourself for every day of the week, per month, and you just tick, at the end of the day to say, okay, today I didn't have any pain. You tick it. Next day I didn't have any pain. Oh, third day, I had a little pain. I'll score it about 2 or 3, and that lets you know that okay, maybe something is coming up. Maybe something is about to trigger your crisis, and then you can start pinpointing so that you can start addressing that trigger before it gets worse, before it actually becomes a crisis. So keeping a pain diary is one of the first things to do in terms of your pain plan. Now, when you can easily catch that oncoming crisis, many times you can, with that, help to slow down or even stop the onset of a crisis. Secondly, is now to have certain basic medication, pain medication, anti-malarials present at home. So you shouldn't wait till you get to a hospital or a pharmacy to have something as simple as Panadol at home, something as simple as an anti-malarial like Coartem or Pialaxin. You have to know which one works for you, but you have to have something at home. I always advise warriors to have a set of 2 or 3 analgesics at home. So the simple Panadol, then an NSAID if you don't have ulcer. If you have peptic ulcer, you can have an NSAID. NSAIDs are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like diclofenac and ibuprofen. But if you're using this, it's always advisable to use it with omeprazole or esomeprazole, which is, a drug that helps to prevent ulcers. So this you should also have at home. Opioids are another group of drugs which I do not really encourage warriors to have at home per se, because it's prone to being addictive. So if it's just the Panadol and the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs that you have at home, have them at home. If you feel malaria coming up, you don't have to wait. You can, if it's at night and you're already having headaches and your mouth is feeling bitter and you're feeling weak, just use it. You won't lose anything from using it. You can always go to the hospital the next day to get, your tests done or to see a doctor. But you will have already started the course of the treatment, which is better than waiting. So have your anti-malarial, have painkillers at home, and start using them. If you can see that, it's because I'm quite stressed physically, then you should know that, okay, I have to take a break. I can't always be involved in this or that activity. So just take a break, sit down, relax at home, and know that, okay, I have to chill. So sometimes this is necessary. You have to know yourself. So you have to have those pain medication as well as some simple drugs at home like anti-malarials. So this is a part of your pain plan. Now, at this point, if you see that you've started using these things, you've upped your intake of water and you're feeling better, then great. You know that you're doing well. However, if you don't start feeling better, within that day, you should know that, okay, I might have to see the doctor. If you feel like, oh, in addition to the pain, you're now having some difficulty breathing and some other added symptoms, then you know that, okay, I definitely have to see my doctor. So then you go into the hospital, because sometimes once those things don't work, then it's a harbinger or a sign that there's something worse going on. So it could be a chest crisis whereby there's a chest infection that needs IV antibiotics, you might need oxygen, you might need red cell exchange. So depending on what it is that is the underlying trigger for a crisis, once it isn't sorted out at home, don't stay at home. Once it's not sorted out within the first 24 to 48 hours, please see your hematologist. Let them have you fully investigated. If you then need to have any further things done within the hospital, this can be done. So that way you take full control of the care, of your own care. So within the hospital, treatment ranges from, of course, first of all, doing investigations to find out what the trigger for this crisis is, and then treating appropriately. You might need to be given antibiotics, you might need to be put on oxygen, you definitely need to be given IV fluids to help rehydrate. In some people, this is enough. However, if this doesn't work, then we have to go higher, move up the train of treatment, and then probably do a top-up transfusion or even do an exchange transfusion in which we take out the sickle cells, we replace with AA blood, and this helps to clear the circulation of the sickle cells and helps, oxygen to flow around the body, as appropriate. So these are things that your doctor, your specialist, will be able to sort out as soon as you're within the hospital. So it's important to take control. Some people can be quite careless and, not really take caution and not really pay enough attention to their health. And then, it gets to a point where it's a little too late. Never let it be too late. Please show up at the hospital just in time. Once it's past, a mild crisis and it's becoming more moderate to severe, and it is not going with your regular interventions at home, then you know that you definitely would need to see a specialist and have yourself checked in the hospital. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that educative narration. One of the things I've realized with pain, how can we get medical doctors to understand the level of pain, or how can we describe it to them? Because sometimes when we say, oh, I'm in pain, the tendencies for people not to believe them, maybe because, like for me now, my pain threshold is high. That means that my capacity for pain, I may not show it as much, but I'm really in pain. So how can we get doctors to understand, okay, the level of pain so that they can treat it accordingly?
So it's always important to have what I call a pain chart. If you Google pain charts on the internet right now, you would always have a scale. Usually it's a color coded scale from 0 to 10. And that just tells you, sometimes they put a smiley face, where 10 will have a very, very unhappy face with, red or tears, and 0, you're still smiling. And then also maybe colors from green to amber to red, as the pain gets more severe. So, like for instance, in our center, we'll have a pain chart to just show the patient to say, okay, so on a scale of 0 being no pain at all, to a scale of 10, 10 being the worst pain ever, can you give us what score you would, score your pain at this period? So it's important to always have that at the back of one's mind. Even as health professionals, if you don't have a score, how would you really grade the person's response to your treatment?
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. So you have to be able to say, somebody came out with a pain scale of about 9/10 in the right arm, and 2 days later, now it's about 3/10. So you know that, yes, you're winning in terms of the, resolution of that pain. So it's important to always have some, because pain is very subjective, as we all know. And like you said, different people have different thresholds. So you have to be able to still say that even though you're not screaming the roof off, my pain is actually 9/10,
Right. Yeah.
So so that way we can have an understanding of how you feel, and we can monitor with that.
Okay. Somebody has a question. She says, can sickle cell be cleared permanently with an AA blood?
No, it cannot be cleared permanently with AA blood. No, that is just a temporary solution for certain indications. So certain times when you have very serious issues like a stroke, acute chest syndrome, severe crisis that isn't going with your other treatments, somebody that has priapism in a male, even chronic pain, there are indications for the red cell exchange, and it's just for the period during which your own body, will produce its own cells, which is about 4 months. So it just helps to remove that immediate problem for that period, but many times it has to be repeated quite often to get the same effect.
Somebody asked, can leg ulcer be cured? This is an issue that is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so leg ulcers in sickle cell can be such a pain. Some people have them on for years and years, and it can be terrible, I know. But yes, it can be cured. So it is very possible to get a good, it can be cured. There are people that have had leg ulcers that have gone and come back, gone and come back. So the issue is, what exactly is causing the leg ulcers
to go and come back here?
Yes. So if you can pinpoint it, sometimes it's that there's an underlying bone infection. No matter how often that ulcer closes, it will open again once there's something triggering it. Sometimes it could be that the percentage of the sickle cells are so high that there's not enough blood getting to that area of the body, so it keeps breaking down. So sometimes even an exchange works for chronic leg ulcers. So it depends. One needs to investigate properly. If you can investigate properly, many times you can have, those ulcers close up.
Yeah. Somebody asks, notices that he comes down with a crisis every time he takes anti-malaria drug. What could be the drug?
What could be the cause? Right. So so for some people, it's very possible that certain medication actually trigger their crisis. Now, for this kind of person, I don't know whether it's the medication that's triggering the crisis or whether it's the malaria that's triggering the crisis. It's difficult to say. So if you're using anti-malaria drugs, it may be that you actually have malaria that's already causing problems. You use the drug and then you feel like it's the drug that's causing the crisis. It may just be that the malaria has already come to a point where it's enough to trigger the crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Abby says, what are the symptoms in sickle cell warrior having a deficiency in vitamin D?
Vitamin D. Good question. So quite a number of symptoms. When it's mild, sometimes it starts with tingling in the tongue or on the lips. Sometimes some people have like a numbness. They say that they can't really feel their lips. Or the tips of their fingers start to tingle. Yeah, you can have some tingling.
I've had that before.
You've had it before. Yeah, so it could be on the fingers, in the toes, and then as it gets more severe, then I start having muscle cramps, muscle weakness, and then they now start having pain. So pain in those muscles, bone pains. As it gets even more severe, they can have serious headaches. They can have really bad muscle weakness, so they are not even able to stand up, from the bed. So these kind of things, it depends on the severity of the vitamin D deficiency.
All right. Joy says, how much is bone marrow transplant?
So it depends. It depends on where one is doing it. We haven't started. Yeah, in Nigeria, I know Professor Bazwaye does transplants in Benin.
Yes.
And I think it costs somewhere between 10 to 12 million naira.
Yeah, and I think Sickle Cell Foundation is planning one soon. They've not put a cost to it yet. They just have the So it's quite expensive, and then it's not for everybody. The younger the child, the better. Yeah.
And of course, there are side effects. There are side effects. You have to be well informed about it. You have to really be a candidate for it because it doesn't always work. So you have to really be a candidate for it. Yeah.
She also asks, does sickle cell reduce the monthly period flow?
Oh, yeah, so it can. Sickle cell can reduce the monthly period flow. First of all, many times it delays the onset of the flow. So for many sickle cell females, what happens is that they don't even see their menses on time. And then when they do start seeing menses, it can be reduced. However, there are so many other things that can reduce monthly flow, regardless of sickle cell. So it's important that one sees a gynecologist to be sure that there's nothing else going on that may be causing that.
Okay. Jumoke asks, does sunlight and vitamin deficiency really work? And what time is best to be under the sun?
Okay, hi Jumoke. So so vitamin D is gotten from the sun, yes. The best time is between 11 a.m. and about 1 p.m. Not hot blazing sun, you just get burnt. So anytime, usually it's around 11, that early morning, 10, 11 to about 12, 1, that's when you get the best vitamin D. Of course, maybe you have to be in shorts and sleeveless to actually get it going to the skin. So that helps. That helps a lot because even with us in the sunny environment, because we're mostly indoors, you're under the AC, everybody's running from the sun. We actually do still have vitamin D deficiency.
Exactly. Fumi is asking, does heart enlargement, can the pain go on forever? Because I had it can. Says heart enlargement, can the pain go forever? Because I had it can't come back to normal. I think it's basically she's asked a quick question about heart enlargement before, so maybe she's because of it she's in constant pain. I'm thinking, and maybe she feels that maybe when it's gone, it won't come back or something. I don't know. Fumi, if you can explain a bit better for your question, sorry, it will help so that we can get a more direct answer. Yeah. Okay. Why there's somebody Jumoke says, why does one go into crisis during and after the period of ovulation? I can sort of answer, but you answer that.
Yeah, so pain can trigger pain. Period pains are bad on its own. They can trigger crisis. Ovulation pain, bad on its own, can trigger crisis. So anything that is, it's already a stressor on your body. So it's many times it triggers crisis, many times. So you have to be able to manage that pain very well so that it doesn't, turn on the vasopressor crisis. Right? Am I right? Sorry.
Yes, definitely. And another thing is that the fact that you're even losing as for me anyway, when I was always, you lose a lot of like blood and you become anemic. So there are other issues that arise. And once you start becoming anemic, your PCV drops, it will trigger crisis. So definitely it will cause that. Yeah. All right. So Fumi is trying to explain. She says, I feel pain in my heart almost every day. Have you been able to say? I'm not sure it's. Are you sure it's not chest, like acute chest syndrome or something? Maybe it's a chest and you think it's your heart. If it's likely to be acute chest syndrome, I think you should see a doctor immediately. It's very important. Let them monitor to see if you are okay.
Let's actually make a diagnosis and know what exactly is going on.
The problem, yes, exactly, yeah. Abe is asking, is there any age range for sickle cell warriors to get married?
Any legal age. What's your legal age to get married? You can get married now.
There's no specific age. All right. Jida asks, what is the cause of having a severe pain on the waist first before any other joint? Oh, okay. I think I know what in crisis, sometimes the crisis starts from the spine. It's not really the waist. It starts from the lower spine and creeps up, then it now triggers other joint pain. So I think that's what she's trying to describe. So maybe you can explain what the cause is on that.
No particular cause that that because it starts from the waist, it's caused by something in particular. No, not necessarily. Many times that's just what people describe. It starts from around there, the back, lower back, the hips, and then spreads to the legs and then the arms. So it doesn't just come bam, affecting all bones at the same time. It always spreads along, and it's always worse in one place than the other, So yeah.
Okay, Fumi is still asking on this. Fumi, I think when you say what can you do by this, we have to determine first is a heart alignment pain. Have you been diagnosed with heart alignment? I don't think your heart can pain you unless I'm wrong, Dr. Shade. I think you should really need to go and see.
Yeah, there's nothing like heart enlargement pain. There's no such thing. Never seen it before. There's something going on. You have pain somewhere within your chest wall region, whatever it is. You need to see a specialist to know what is causing this thing.
Exactly.
You can have heart enlargement from sickle cell cardiomyopathy. Sickle cell cardiomyopathy will not cause pain in your heart, but there are so many other things that will cause pain around that chest region. So it's important, please, you have to have tests done to know exactly what's causing this pain so that it can be handled on time.
Exactly. So Fumi, please go and say, doctor, if you don't have one or you don't know where to go, you can always DM us and we can recommend somewhere. It's very important. Abi will say that she said some said it's better to marry for females to marry on time because of pregnancy. Is it a myth?
So this applies to everybody, right? Sickle cell or not. So it has nothing to do with that. If you have the right age, I think what's important is go to make sure you finish your studies, have work. Don't just go and get married because you want to get married and get pregnant.
Exactly.
It's hard work. School fees is not cheap. So we have people in their 30s.
Yeah.
Getting pregnant without
exactly. I think I've even had this I don't know whether it's a bit, but there was always this story when it concerns fibroid. Somebody tells you that the earlier you marry and have a child, the less likely you're going to have fibroid. So I think a lot of this information just gets jumbled up and mixed up together. So Temitope is for a warrior. Is there any such thing as water intake being too much, and what is the possible side effect?
Okay, so yeah, too much. There is such a thing as too much water. There is such a thing as too much water. Of course, typical adults, 60-70% of our body is water. So and if you're going to calculate that, you just need about 3 to 3.5 liters for adequate hydration in a day. So if you're taking 6 liters, 7 liters, it can dilute some of the elements within the body and cause some problems. So for an adult, I would say about 3 to 3.5 liters per day is fine. It's just fine, no issues.
Okay, so the final question goes at fast. Okay, I have 3 minutes more before we round up. Fumi is back with, she said she did an echo test, and I was told I had a heart enlargement. Fumi, I don't think, yes, you may have a heart enlargement, but I don't think the pain is linked to the, I still think you should go see a doctor to be able to determine why you are having pain. Am I right, Dr. Shadi?
So if there is heart enlargement, there are other things that may be going on. But until you check, you can't tell. Yeah, it could be some angina, it could be some blockage of the blood supply to certain parts of the heart. It could be something entirely different, so it's important to do further tests to know what's causing it. Heart enlargement is not enough to cause this pain that you're talking about.
Exactly. So let me check if there are any more other questions. I think that's it. Make sure I don't miss questions. Thank you so much for what you're giving us. I'm sure people are really educated on this matter. Somebody's okay. They are saying thank you, doctor. Thank you, ma. Okay, thanks, ma. Yeah, it's been an enlightening program. Thank you. Yes. All right then. Thanks. So have a lovely weekend. Rest of your weekend.
You too. All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, guys. We're rounding up. I'm just waiting for gamekeeper to come on, but we're rounding up right now. Somebody was asking about my book earlier on. I'll just play video so you have an idea of where you can get my book, and after that I'll also play the video of our board member, a video of our board member's book too, and I recommend it to both of you. We're both Sickle warriors over 50. She's 50 today, and of course, I'm over 50, so I'll play mine first while we wait for the game. Okay, all right. So we are on to the games. I'll start off with. Are we on show by show of emoji? Show that you're ready for it. It's going to be fastest fingers, and we're going to ask a couple of questions that you should be able to answer, and the top 5 fastest fingers will be the one to win our 5 data, 1K data for each person. So my first question will be, what is the full, for those of you who are able to be on yesterday's show, that's why it's good to come on every day so you can win something. For what is the full name of Lepasius Bosse? Fastest fingers. The full name of Lepasius Bosse. She was on yesterday. For those of us who can. Okay. Full name of Lepasius Bosse. Okay, in the meantime, Olamide is asking a question. I don't get crisis when I take injection for malaria, only when I take drugs. Maybe you could be reacting to the drugs. It could be possible. That's a possibility. But I think you should always, when you take drugs or anything, you should always tell your doctor your experience, so that you would be able to know what is really triggering the crisis. So if it's the type of tablet you're taking, they can take you off it and give you an alternative. I hope you're not one of those people who just go and assume that they have malaria and buy the malaria drug. No, it's very important we do the test to determine that it's actually malaria, and then we go to the doctor to know what to take, exactly what to take. All right, so I said, what is the full name of Lepasius Bosse? What is the full, keep it coming. What is the full name of Lepasius Bosse? And then the second question. Which was said yesterday, according to Oluseye Aderonke, when she was talking about the sugar rush effect, which of the following is dates good for? Leg health, hand health, brain health. Which of the following is dates good for? Leg health, hand health, or brain health? I'll repeat that the last time. According to Oluseye Aderonke, which of the following is dates, the fruit dates, good for? Leg health, hand health, or brain health? So we'll wait a bit and get our questions. Keep it coming. The top 5 right answers will get a data. Okay. Yep, keep it coming. We want to see the correct answers. Okay. I think we have ended this game. So I'm going to any game any answers coming after Olajumoke Sarah will not qualify. So far, I think we have some winners. They would our team will contact you. I don't know how they want us to get in touch with you, but maybe they will DM you privately or something. So for the following people, Joy James, one for the question, second question. I think wait, let me check if she's the fastest. Was from let me start from the first questions. Timitope, yes, one. Michael, yes, you won. Timitope, yes, Michael. Sarah, Fumi, and Michael. Yes, I think that's at the top 5. Really. And then for the second question, Joy James, Abe, Gina, Ola, BC, and Elite Makeovers. But if you want for I'll leave it to our people to collate, because we want 10 people. So if you got your right answers for the first question, we'll give it to somebody else so that we can spread the love around, right? So we're going to take a 45 minutes break. It's not even less than 45 minutes. We'll be back at 6 o'clock with Adire Dewo, I believe, and it's going to be very interesting. Your health-life balance or your health-work balance. How do you manage your work and also maintain your health at the same time especially in this time of COVID and other issues? So we'll be coming right back. Till then, take a break, drink water, and don't forget to put the notification button on and like the channel, so that as soon as we're back on. So till then, I wish you a nice break and see you again at 6 o'clock.
Toluse could do